afternoon, everyone. Today is Wednesday of the 19th week in Ordinary Time. However, I want to continue my discussion when I spoke to you yesterday about St. Clare, about poverty, chastity, and obedience. And I was explaining to all of you that those evangelical counsels, those gospel way of life, is not just for religious. They're for diocesan priests, friars, monks, sisters, nuns, married people, lay persons. In other words, they're gospel counsels, evangelical counsels, poverty, chastity, and obedience. Christ the poor one, Christ the chaste one, Christ the obedient one. And that's why we all look to Christ as we continue our whole walk with him in discipleship, as disciples. So yesterday we talked about poverty, and just to recap it a little bit, poverty for every way of life is different. All of you know that I am a diocesan priest. I am not a friar. I am not a religious ordered priest. I am not a monk. I live my life as a Roman Catholic priest to a particular diocese. I belong to the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, and my direct superior, my ultimate superior, of course, is the Archbishop of Philadelphia, Archbishop Nelson Jesus Perez. Okay, he is my superior. Now, we have a couple people before him that I have to listen to and take direction from. My dean, the dean of my county, Monsignor Niccolo, and of course the vicar for clergy, which is Monsignor Sullivan. So there's a lot of people before Archbishop Perez. Like, you just don't go to the Pope for things. You have to, come to me if you want to talk about something. You don't need to write to the Pope. So it's all that kind of stuff. It's like subsidiarity, like the channel of command that helps in the whole process. Well, anyway, I want to talk to you about chastity. So we said poverty for every way of life. Yeah. A married person looks at the evangelical counsel of poverty differently, and rightly so, than the sister, than the nun, than the friar, than the monk, than the diocesan priest, than the single person. Do you see all those various vocations? But everybody, in a spirit of what is gospel poverty. What is gospel poverty? And how should one live it? How do we share our goods with others? Remember, I told you, St. Basil said, if you are not wearing clothes in your closet and shoes in that closet, they belong to somebody else. They're just waiting for you to give it to them. Gospel poverty. The ability to let go of possessions. The ability to let go of material possessions for the sake of someone else. For the good of another person. Let's look at chastity. Now, I'm going to talk to you about chastity because chastity is not celibacy. Oh, interesting. Well, yeah, it's not. I would have told you celibacy, but it's chastity. So single people have to be chaste. Married couples have to be chaste. Priests have to be chaste. Nuns, sisters, monks, friars, all have to be chaste. What is chastity? And how does it differ from celibacy? Well, chastity is a universal call to all, just like poverty is. It's a, how do we live gospel chastity? It's right order human sexuality according to our vocation. Now, some of us take that chastity and we bump it up a notch because of our way of life, and that is celibacy. Now, I have to tell you, all single persons are called to celibacy in that way of life. Married couples are not called to celibacy, but they're called to chastity, a right order of human sexuality as a married couple. I mean, remember the spiritual goods of marriage? It goes back to that right ordered human sexuality, to the spiritual goods of marriage, especially when it comes to the procreation and education of children. As you know, the Catholic Church does not say that it is okay to cohabitate and to have conjugal love with a person that you're not married to. No. Not at all. The Catholic Church, now I say this again because I want to see if you're training your ear. When I say the Catholic Church says, the gospel of Jesus Christ says, and the Catholic Church presents. See, you're not in front of me, so no hands went up. So I hope hands went up when I said the Catholic Church teaches. Father, did you not mean the gospel of Jesus Christ teaches and the Catholic Church presents? Yes, that's what exactly I meant. So, how do you live gospel chastity? Well, if you're a single person, you live in the world, you're committed to a life of work, leisure, and socialization. And you have time, maybe to do charitable works. You're not committed to a family. If you're dating, you're still obligated by Christ and the gospel to be celibate and chaste. Because no married person should be engaging in conjugal love. No single person, no engaged person should be engaging in conjugal love until they have received the sacrament of marriage. Now, you may think that I have 3 heads and I just fell off of a turnip truck. One of the nuns I used to work for or work with, she used to say that to me. What did you think? I just fell off of a turnip truck? You can tell how far back I go. You may think that, but that's the gospel of Jesus Christ, and the church presents that to us. Whether you obey it or not is up to you. You have to make a conscious decision. But no one who is single should be engaged in conjugal love. Not even if you're engaged. Well, we're engaged. Well, that's all right. You're not married yet. That engagement can be called off in a minute. So, human sexuality, to respect it. To respect it. You know, even our clothes tell us what we think about our bodies and sexuality. Is it up for grabs, so to speak, by the way we dress? I don't know. You know, dress says a lot about what we think about the human body and what we want people to look at when we dress. You just have to be careful. Some people will say, well, look at the way they're dressed. No wonder that happened. Now, of course, that's no excuse. But you have to understand the whole dynamic of it. Dress says something. Dress says, I also respect me and my body. But how much do you respect you and your body? Of what you wear, right? So be conscious of that, those who are single. Now, and those who are married, be conscious of that. Because sometimes through our dress, we could be flirting. We could be flirting. It's almost like a green light of flirting. No, you can't do that. Be conscious of that. You're a married person. Don't put that in someone's way, that temptation. Dress appropriately. I always say dress appropriately for your age, and your size. I always have to say that. Are you dressed appropriately for your age? I'm going to add another thing. Your vocation and your size. You have to answer that question. Married couple are called to chastity, right ordered living out of human sexuality. Married couples cannot contracept. They cannot have a tube ligation or a vasectomy. That breaks chastity, gospel chastity. You see, you have to be very careful. Diocesan priest promises celibacy. Now, remember, everyone's called to chastity, not everyone's called to celibacy. Everyone's called to chastity, not everyone is called to celibacy. But the single person is, the priest and religious are. Now the deacon, interestingly enough, is married, so not called to celibacy, but to chastity. Right? In fact, it would be sinful if a married couple was not open to the conjugal act. Remember I told you in the promises of, or the vows of a married couple, it's the baptized male and female, the exchange of vows, and the conjugal act, where the two become one. Do you see how the two become one? Because they're joined physically in the conjugal act. That's all sacramental. So the conjugal act is sacramental. And it's for those in the sacrament of holy matrimony. I'm not in the sacrament of holy matrimony, so the conjugal act is not for me. So when it comes to the sisters and the nuns, when it comes to the friars and the monks, when it comes to diocesan priests, when it comes to single people, celibacy. Married couples, deacons who are married as well, chastity. For all of us, chastity. The right order of living out of human sexuality. And what does that mean? What does the gospel of Jesus Christ say as the church presents it to us? Today, more than ever, this is all mixed up. Oh, it's all mixed up. It's terrible. Do you know what is a multi-billion-dollar industry? Pornography. Against chastity. It's against chastity. You're sinning with your eyes. If you would ever know how much pornography brings in as an industry, your head would spin. Your head would spin. I just want to tell you about these evangelical councils of poverty, chastity, and obedience, because I don't want you as a Catholic to ever think they're reserved to priests and nuns. Wrong. Wrong. All people. All people. You know what? And again, the average layperson would think chastity is celibacy. It's not celibacy. Chastity is not celibacy. Did you hear me? Chastity is not celibacy. Celibacy is celibacy. Chastity is for everybody, whether you're married or not, whether you're single or religious, whether you're a friar or a monk or a diocesan priest. God gave us human sexuality. It is, for many, a very heavy appetite. And it's a struggle for many to be chaste. Physically, eye and body, all that, clothing. It's a struggle for many people. But you need the grace of the sacraments and prayer and a determination. Okay? So we understand poverty is for everybody. But of course, in their own particular vocation. Chastity is for everybody according to their own particular vocation. These are gospel values, gospel way of life. They're called evangelical counsels. Why do you think I repeat all this? Well, because repetition is the mother of learning. I don't want you as a Catholic not to be informed. I want you to have a formed conscience. And I want you to live your life as a good Catholic. I'm not saying everything's easy. What is easy in life? But we have to understand, what does Jesus present in the Gospels? And how the church gives this to us. And makes it clear. You may open the Bible and say, Father, Jesus has nothing to say about pornography. How could that be sinful? See, you think all this stuff is in the Gospels? No. So what does Jesus mean when he says, if your right eye calls you to sin, pluck it out? Hello. You know? So the gospel of Christ absolutely presents this to us. Now, the church articulates that in a beautiful way. All throughout the history. From the time of the death of the last apostle to the present day. Okay, tomorrow I want to talk to you about obedience. That obedience is very important. God knows it is today. Just like all these gospel values are abused. We still have hunger. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. I told you this many other times. We have enough food. We have enough money. We just don't share enough. We don't. So is there still hunger? Yes. Does it have to be? No. We have enough to continue doing everything. There is enough money out there. There is. We're just greedy. I guess me too. I try not to be. I try to make sure I give charitably to all the organizations, including this parish. Now, I'm not saying that to toot my horn, nor do you say that to toot your horn. I'm just telling you, I'm not exempt from it. So you think, well, Father, it's easy for you to say that. Well, no, I do the same thing you do. I truly do. I don't tell you that. I mean, what is that for me to toot my horn and say, guess what I did today? No, but I have to also give material clothing away, shoes away, and I do. I also have to give my time to many, many people and organizations, and I do. And my treasure, I give it away. I try to start here with this charity called St. Mary Parish. Then I have other charities that I give to. And so do you. But we're all priest or layperson. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. So there's enough money. There's enough food. We just have to make sure everybody shares. Human sexuality is beautiful. But why is there adultery going on? Why cohabitation, fornication, contraception, pornography? Why? Why are we so selfish that we can't just respect our own body and our own wife or husband? Why is there human trafficking? The selling of children and the abuse of children. God forbid. Why? See, disordered about money, time, talent, and treasure. A disorder of human sexuality. These are all gospel values for everybody. And then tomorrow we're going to look at obedience. Okay? Let's just think about that, pray about that, digest everything, and so will I. I'm going to, when I preach, I always tell people, I preach to myself. When I teach, I also teach to myself. And I'm reminded of who I am and to whom I belong. To God. And how do I live that life, right? But all of us, you and me, together, as we give honor and glory to Almighty God. Have a nice day, everybody.